Hey, good morning and welcome to Breakthrough Walls. I'm Ken Walls and I'm your host. And I have the one, the only Mr. Justin Benton on the show today. And Justin's going to come in here and we're going to talk about life. So stay with us. And here we are. I want to go ahead and bring on my new buddy. We're new friends. I met him through our mutual friend, Mr. Jeffrey Gittimer. I want to bring in Justin Benton. Justin, welcome to the show, man.
Hey, thanks for having me, Ken. I really appreciate it. Look forward to chatting and seeing if we can come up with some cool stories that might inspire others or help them overcome some adversity.
You know, I started this show about 2.5 years ago. I've interviewed somewhere in the vicinity of 260 celebrities and entrepreneurs from all over the world. And I believe that we heal our own lives by hearing how others healed theirs. And so that's what this is about, man. It's about your life story and how you overcame the ups and downs. So Justin, let's start with where you were born and raised.
Omaha, Nebraska, in the middle.
Wow.
So there's Omaha, which is like a million people city. And then there's cornfields.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was born in the city. And so I know I've talked to a lot of people over the years, and I moved out of Nebraska when I graduated. But some people just think that there's outdoor plumbing and it's just all cornfields, but Omaha is actually a pretty good sized town, and it's actually a great town, kind of like a mini Chicago, if you will. But born there and was raised. I also was raised on the East Coast as well. I know Jeffrey coined the phrase, I live in California now, but with a New Jersey attitude. So I actually lived in New Jersey as well. But I've lived all over this country, and I'm very happy here in Southern California on the beach in a little beach town called Ventura, California.
Nice. You know, I lived in Seattle. I moved out to Seattle many years ago, and I went from Ohio. Ended up going through Nebraska, and I'm sorry, but wow. I mean, Omaha, I remember going through, I was like, oh, wow, there's a city. Mm-hmm. And then there literally was nothing else for something like 6 hours. And I was like, what? I literally crossed the state line into, where do you cross it? Into Wyoming? Or
Wyoming, yeah.
Yeah. And I was like, I got out of my car and I looked back and I went, what was that?
A lot of cornfields.
It was, I mean, it's crazy. Like if you've not, like if people think we are out of land, dude, go drive through Nebraska. You will change your mind. I promise you. So yeah, man, but I honestly, I don't know that much about Omaha, except for that's where Warren Buffett is, right?
The Oracle of Omaha. Yeah. I mean, it's a great town. Great cost of living. I always tell people it's a great place to be from because, great Midwestern values.
Yeah.
Great work ethic, great place to raise a family, great people, great food. But man, does that weather stink. It's just cold in the winter and it's hot and humid in the summer. But like I said, I loved it. Corn, steak, and footballs. It was always what we were known for. And we're on the football team. But boy, I tell you what, that sweet corn, which is coming into season right now, and the steaks, I'll put them up against anything. I've had a couple back and forth with some folks out in Argentina. They think we're better, but we always kind of have competitions. I'll put Omaha steaks up against not just the company,
they are the best,
but a fresh aged one.
They are the best. They are definitely. So, yeah. Patricia says I spent a week in Iowa. I spent a month in Iowa once in Des Moines, and it literally felt like 10 years. I was like, there's not, I mean, back then I was a partier, so I don't do that anymore, but there was nothing to do. Like, even the bars like closed at 9:30. I was like, what is going on here? It was, but yeah, I'm from the Midwest too, dude. So I get it. Ohio is definitely not a whole lot different, except for it's only 4 hours of cornfields. So.
Well, and so I went to college at Creighton University, which is also in Omaha. It's a private Jesuit school, really good school.
Yeah.
Had a good time, made a lot of friends. It was only like 7,000 undergrad. So I ended up joining a fraternity to have a social life. Otherwise, it'd be like going to a big high school.
Yeah.
And we had a really good time, made a lot of good friends. I also did a semester abroad in the Dominican Republic.
Wow.
Was a really eye-opening experience for me. Led me to wanting to go into a career into international business.
Wow.
We'll get to full circle here. And, I learned a lot about people that Whispering Creek, Doug, my grandparents still live in Sioux City, Iowa. I go play there across the street if you're up there in Sioux City.
Wow.
And so what I learned a lot in the Dominican, you get a different perspective. I think Americans tend to be a little myopic and take things a little bit for granted. People in the Dominican Republic can live off of $10 a month.
Yep.
And when we did a trip up into the hills into Haiti, and we were sitting around a campfire with these Haitian families, and their eyes were wide open because they were, we're just a bunch of, mostly Caucasian, Americans. And we're having dinner, which was a chicken that was walking around a few hours before. And
wow.
This 8-year-old kid's looking at me, and he's like, he's watching me eat, and we're kind of playing musical chairs and all these fun games. And then he's like, I can tell you're American. And I said, let me guess, because of the color of my skin. He goes, no, because you don't suck the bones. And so that was like my first real eye-opening experience where I was like, okay, there's a different perspective on life of really appreciating what we have. So I knew for the rest of my life I was going to take that story and run with it. Like anytime I was, not being grateful for what I have or taking things for granted, just remember that 8-year-old boy. Are you sucking the bones? Sucking the marrow out of the bones of life? Are you really, appreciating and being grateful for all the things that you've been given? Because so many times in our lives, we work so hard for something, we want it, and then, we get it, and then we just forget it. And so I'm very big in being grateful and reflecting on those things that we have in our lives that we've attracted and worked towards, and kind of reliving those feelings and re-experiencing it. So I was happy to go down to Dominican Republic, learned a lot.
And how long were you down there?
It was just a semester, so about 4 or 5 months. I actually did my 21st birthday while we were down there, and went down with some really good friends, and we just had a blast.
And this was with your college?
With Creighton University, yeah, they do it every year. The business school can go down for a semester, and I believe they still do it to this day. I actually went back a few years ago and visited everybody, and I mean, you want to talk about grateful people. They'll take the shirt off their back, which is about all they own sometimes, and give it to you. And all they want to do is have you on their front porch, have a coffee, which is great down there, and talk and work on their English and talk about Nueva York, because they all love New York and Miami. And their dreams are to come to America. And a lot of them, you've seen the baseball players, and they, instead of basketball pickup like we have here in the States, they have baseball pickup. And so I was a baseball player growing up. And so we would grab our glove and go to the field and just go play pickup baseball, which was crazy, and it was a blast. Yeah.
So that put things into perspective for you. And I know so many people that go to those third world countries and have a wake up call. Like it's way different. So you came back. I'm assuming you graduated from college.
I did. C's getting degrees, baby.
With a degree in business admin.
Yeah, it was business admin, and at the time I graduated in '99, so it was the big Y2K craze. I bought a computer science degree as well, called MIS, Management Information Systems.
Yeah. So you get out of college and start your own business, become a multi-billionaire, and the rest is history.
That's it. I just want to tell you how easy it is. What you do is you come up with a plan, and then you just do it, and then it works out.
That's it.
You just are like, life's great. So I know you guys all have similar stories. So
right.
So I moved out to Charlotte, North Carolina, home of Jeffrey Gitomer, and I had some buddies from college that had a house, and so we lived out there in this house, and I think I was paying like $200 a month to live in like the side room or something, and didn't have a job, but knew that it was time to get out of Omaha, Nebraska. There was more world to explore and be in. So I moved out there, didn't have a job. How life works for you. I've got 2 jobs at the same time. One was with a DirecTV, doing a lot of software things. And I had no business being a software engineer, but that was what my degree said. And they wanted to give me a bunch of money to do it. So I said, okay, I'll give it a try. I ended up transitioning into a sales role. And
that's awesome.
It was amazing that, Charlotte's a beautiful place, wonderful weather, wonderful golf courses. I remember going whitewater rafting up in West Virginia, just an absolute going camping at the Outer Banks.
Dude, you don't know this, I don't think. I was DirecTV's largest retail dealer in the United States.
Awesome.
And I was based out of Charleston, West Virginia, is where my office was. So back then it was exploding nationwide.
Yep.
So
I have a company called DST Interactive. So all of the programming, so all of everything was done through that company. And the cool thing about that company was every new employee, even ones that couldn't program worth of crap, went through a 3-day Stephen Covey How to Win Friends and Influence People seminar. And that was the first time, I was about 21, 22. That was the first time that I had ever come across his work. And then when I read the book and went through the seminar and saw, it's not what happens to you, but it's how you choose to respond. And that space is your freedom. That was mind blowing for me. That was a complete eye-opening experience where I was like, okay, so I'm in control. It's not what happens to me, but how I respond. And I'm working on that today, every single day, every morning, I practice grateful. I do grateful barefoot walks. I go live thanks to you and your amazing program going live and teaching us how to do this. And I practice gratitude, think of 3 things I'm grateful for, and relive those experiences, whether it's being married or having your child or graduating from college or getting a job or whatever it was that you are really proud of and happy, and just reliving that experience every day, just to really get your day started right. So reading that book, going through that course, really kind of set me on a trajectory. And then it wasn't about a year or 2 later that I happened to run into this amazing little book in the Charlotte airport, a little red book that I was reading everything I could get my hands on. And wouldn't you know, I ran into the little red book of sales by Jeffrey Gitomer. And the writing, I think it was the first time I ever saw the word like bullshit in a sales book. And it had pictures, and it was funny, and it was on point. And, Jeffrey's always been a trailblazer. There's the book. I bet it's signed. And he's always been a trailblazer. Like even in the beginning, like 20 years ago, he was like, go get your name.com. So what did I do 20 years ago? I got my name.com. And so, and he was a trailblazer on social media, and now you partnered up with him, and you're writing a book with him about going live in the virtual world that we live in. And it's amazing when you really start that journey of investing in yourself and expanding your mind and taking control of your emotions. Yeah. Anyways, I could talk.
For the record, I'm a contributor in his book, meaning I wrote a chapter and a little bit more. So, and I'm grateful for that. But I understand exactly what you're saying, because when I've studied Dale Carnegie, the How to Win Friends and Influence People, for years, and I've bought the book. I've given it to, I don't even know how many salespeople. Like like until you learn how to care about other people, genuinely care about other people. And I'm going to say this about you. You sent out, and I have it right here. You sent me some free samples of your CBD stuff. I think there's another one on the way that I'm really
into coffee.
Yeah, the what's it called? Mocha or not espresso. Yeah. I'm looking forward to that. But I think that you bring up a couple of really, really valid things that if people would get this, man, life would be so much easier. And that is, you spent time in Haiti. I have a really good friend in Florida that's internationally known. He's got his own Wikipedia page. I mean, he's a big deal. And this dude went to Haiti after one of the hurricanes years ago and noticed that there was not much commerce, just not a lot of commerce. And so he went and said, okay, you know what? I think we can collect used or gently worn used shoes and set up the Haitian people with their own shops selling shoes on the streets, the street shops. Right. Mm-hmm. And like, it impacted him so much what you're talking about. And I've never been there, but like, it impacted him so much how little they have, but yet they're happy. I think, people are genuinely happy, and it's because they live from a place of gratitude. Like you were talking about, they live from that place of, it could be a bologna sandwich, and they're the most grateful person on earth because of that one bologna sandwich. Yet somebody here in America might be like, "Oh, bologna sandwich! I want an Omaha steak," and they're what's that?
Didn't ask for mustard.
I know, right? But I mean, so living from a place of gratitude is one of the most life-changing things that somebody can do when they really become consciously aware. And dude, you are aware. Like I see your posts. We're friends on Facebook now. I see your posts. I see your comments, and you are literally living that. And do you feel like it was your Midwestern values? Was it being in Haiti? What was it that gave you that mindset shift?
Well, again, like I said, when I was reading Stephen Covey for the first time and reading Jeffrey's books, the line about, choosing your response, it really just kind of unlocked the keys for me. It's like, so I own it. Like when you really are, like, for me, the biggest thing that I work on every day is like ownership of your attitude, ownership of your emotion. And so, we all have these like kind of emotional homes, if you will. And you experience the life you live based on kind of the emotions, right? A lot of us are like, one day when I get a car, when I get a house, when I get a family, when I get a kid, when I retire, when I this, when I that, then I'm going to experience life, and then I'm going to be happy. But just like we talked about, when you work really hard for something and then you get it, and then you just kind of forget it. Like, how long does it really keep that joy going? Is it a week? Is it a month? Is it a year? Usually 2 or 3 weeks, and then you just kind of forget and you take it for granted. So every day you can choose to be happy. You can choose to be positive. I know that Jeffrey's little yellow book, gold book of Yes Attitude is another great book. And that's where Jeffrey started talking about, like, don't watch the news. So I watch the news. Like, I literally don't watch the news. I don't know, because I can't affect it. There's nothing I can do about it. I mean, and I tell people, like, if the whole thing's with politics, it's like, are you running for office? If you can do something about it, do something about it. Otherwise, I don't want to hear about it. Right. And that's the whole Stephen Covey thing, right? Yeah. He talks about control, right? Your influence of control. Is it in your influence of control? Okay, concern yourself about it and make it happen, or expand your circle of influence. But if it's not in your influence of control, let it go. Work on your attitude, work on the things you can control, work on the relationships that you currently have, work with your clients, work with your family, focus on your attitude, focus on what you're grateful for, focus on all the things that that you have in your life. And you can even, if you're, really want to go for it, you can experience the feelings that you're going to have in the future, like self-actualization with Maslow, and like, what's it going to feel like when I get that brand new beach house? Like, how am I going to feel? And you can literally experience those feelings now and experience those feelings all the way until it happens. And so again,
now, you're talking Stephen Covey, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People.
Yep.
Okay. Got it.
That's the book.
Yeah.
I bought that a few hundred times. What's crazy is, and I give it away to salespeople and friends and family, is sometimes you got to make them buy it. You know what I mean? I've noticed that. It's like a lot of people buy a book and you like, oh, thanks. And you open like the first 2 pages and it sits over there. Yeah. It's just like, buy it. And they got some skin in the game.
Yeah.
But that's one of those that definitely kind of helped it up. And I know you had Lindsay on the other day, and she was talking about, the worldwide tutoring and giving kids life skills. And I thought that was beautiful. And we need to do a better job as it takes a village to raise a community to help pass this knowledge on to the kids, right? I mean, you're not going to get it in the schools. You might get a great teacher. You may have a great big brother or some really enlightened parents. Otherwise, who knows? But, taking ownership of your attitude, taking ownership of gratitude, really learning these life lessons that can really empower people. Because, don't you wish you could write a letter to yourself, when you were 18 or 20 and 25 and from 20 years in the future, and say, hey, dude, here's some basic principles that you really need to learn. And so I kind of make that my mission. Anybody that I talk to kind of talk whatever I've learned that I can pass on and help others, I'm always there to do it.
So you went to you get out of college, you're working for DirecTV, and you were in Charlotte.
Yep.
And so how long did you do that? How long were you in Charlotte? How long did you work for DirecTV, et cetera?
So I worked there for about 2 or 3 years. And then, like I said, it was very apparent to me and everybody that I did not belong as a software engineer.
Right.
And so I transitioned, and there was a family business that we were running, some commercial property. And so back in Omaha, and the business was going through some turmoil. And so I moved back to Omaha and kind of take care of everything. And so I moved back and start running all these things. I'm like 23 years old, 24 years old.
Wow.
Running a business. And man, like, it was hard. And there were some hard lessons. And, those are those types of things where I always say there's 2 ways that you can learn in life. One, you can learn from others' experience, mistakes, and how they overcame them. Or 2, you can hopefully learn from your own mistakes. I would much rather get a mentor, read a book in this day and age of YouTube videos and self-education, like the programs you offer and Jeffrey offers. You can teach yourself, through others' experiences, unlike any other time in human history. And so I learned some hard lessons in business, and part of why I try to help people so much is because I've experienced so many tough lessons, like painful lessons, and like having to pick yourself up and dust yourself off, and it's just painful sometimes, and especially for loved ones. I'm the oldest of 8, and I try to like pass on these lessons, and I call them like incontrovertible truths, like. Yeah. Being a victim ain't going to work. Like,
right.
Work. Like, you got to own it. You got to take full responsibility of your emotion, of your circumstance. It's nobody's fault. It's not how you were raised. It's not the government's fault. It is on you. And, like Jeffrey says, the weather in your head, man, it's your attitude. And it's once you own it, once you own everything, then you really are set free to live the life you were meant to live.
Wow. That's so true. So you're back in Omaha.
Yeah, back in Omaha.
23 years old.
Running
a commercial, what? Real estate?
Had some real estate properties, apartment buildings, and office buildings.
Okay.
Really, all I was really doing was running it enough to liquidate the assets, to get the money. It was really hard. I don't know if anybody has been in property management and putting tenants in, and whether it's residential, commercial. It's a pain. And And so I got that business all taken care of, and basically sold off the assets, got the money to the family, and then I started my journey. So my first and you know, they say salesmen aren't born, right? You know, I think it's Glengarry Glen Ross, but I was kind of a born salesman. So my first job, I was 16. I was a telemarketer in Omaha. Because we're in the middle of the country, there was no dialect, and back then, how long the phone call was placed mattered on like your phone bill. So there was tons of telemarketing companies in Omaha, and I was great from the get-go. And so I was in sales from 16, and it was just so funny to me that my first job was sales on the phone, and then I go to college and I'm going to get this degree and I'm going to go work for this corporate America job. Right. And now I find myself, after the real estate business, working in the data world, sales leads, which was Jeff's first company back in Charlotte, sending out new business sales leads. Yeah. And I'm on the phone again and I'm selling people. So that's where I get into Omaha and all of this sales community. So I start a company after I worked for another company and learned the ropes. I started a company, and man, it was about 2005, and we were, rocking and living the dream, and everything was going great. And I couldn't have been happier. Life was as good as it possibly.
And you were a telemarketer.
Well, we were sales leads. So it was an inside sales company. We sold sales leads.
How did you make sales?
Well, it was mostly phone. So we worked nationwide, and we would talk to businesses. We generated a lot of leads through Google.
But you were on the phone.
Yeah, inside sales. So 99% of it was inside sales, working with the big markets: New York, Florida, Texas, California.
Wow.
And companies would want new businesses or new homeowners or really specific lists. And it was a lot more. It was mailing lists, really, is how it got started. And the economy was going good, and I had a great team. It was probably 25, 30, 40 of us. And like living the dream, just living what I thought was the dream. And, it was really good. But boy, something happened in 2008 or 2009.
Sure did.
It happened to a lot of us, right? And I think we obviously got a little out over our skis. We didn't think that, it was going to be forever summer. Winter was never coming. And people were doubling down on their mortgages. And, I remember we were selling a ton of leads in the mortgage space.
Yeah.
Because everybody was just, buying more houses. There was no real, anybody could get a loan. They just would push 10 loans through. I remember my old man for AIG, and it was like 2006 or 7. I was like, hey, man, this mortgage thing is going to come crashing down because no one's checking anything. Everyone's just pushing mortgage loans through left and right. And if there's ever a correction, of course there will be, it's going to be pretty ugly. I had no idea that it was going to be to the extent that it was. Yeah. And that was one of those first lessons in life when, you gotta, plan for winter, and, whether that's your investments or diversifying, and always being ready to adapt. Like, don't just like that book, Who Moved My Cheese? Don't just keep going to the same place, even though the cheese dwindles down to nothing.
Right.
Cheese starts to dwindle down. Like, it's time to put on your running shoes and go look for some more opportunities, and make sure you're always improving. Don't just rest on your laurels. And that was a lesson that I could have learned then. And don't just be delusional and just keep telling yourself, everything's going to be okay. Everything's going to be okay. You need to keep your eyes open and make sure that you're looking for opportunities. So that was a lesson there. So that shifted. Business went down. We had to make a couple things left and right. And then, eventually the business kind of, went sideways. And then that allowed me to transition into, this new career. And it wasn't just because of that, but, about 5 or 6 years ago, how we got started with 101 CBD was I got the biggest curveball of life. And with that was my son was diagnosed on the spectrum. Some call it autism, when he was 2.5 years old. And so that was the curveball that I had. I thought I could take. I had a strong chin, but that one knocked me down.
What year was that?
2014, I believe.
But back up between 2008. Obviously the telemarketing, telesales gig ended, right?
Yep.
Joe Ingram says 2007 was buy one house, get two free. but so that kind of came to an end. Where did you go from there?
So I continued to stay in the marketing, sales and marketing, more in the financial sector. So the transition went to more of a business loan world. And so we were focused on business loans. I stayed with my background, which was sales and marketing. And so we just catered to businesses that were still doing well in that recession. And then I stayed on that for the next, 4 or 5 years, tried a couple different ideas, tried a couple different businesses. Some worked, some didn't. But, things were good. We were living a good thing. Well, that industry also had some bumps, about 4 or 5 years ago too. And then I knew that I wasn't living my mission. I wasn't living my purpose. I was paying the bills. I was good at my job, but I knew there was something more, and I was looking for it. And that's when the curveball came that, they say out of your mess, you can make your greatest message was, so my son's diagnosed with autism. I don't know what to do. I don't know if it's a life sentence. I don't know what, you have no idea what to do.
Right.
So you do research, you go to doctors, you go to researchers, you go to Dr. Google, and there wasn't any research really out there that I could find. We tried everything and, worked with doctors. And so eventually I came across some research that showed that CBD was helping with kids with seizures. And so I was like, well, if autism is neurological, seizures are neurological, why couldn't it help? And so I grew some cannabis, some hemp out here in California. And I decided I was already growing some. I grew up holistically, plant-based medicine. It fascinated me. And so I made a grow in the backyard of a high CBD strain called Susie Q. And we were out at a Underwood Farms, which is like a pumpkin patch. And my son was having a tantrum, having a terrible time. And we had given him a tincture, which is just a CBD oil, and put it orally. My wife gave it to him. And like literally 5 minutes later, from having a tantrum, hands over his ears and having a horrible time, he's out running around picking pumpkins. All the grandparents and aunts are there. And they're like, what was that? And we said, well, that was our raw CBD oil.
Wow.
For him. And that was the beginning. So we knew we were onto something. We had no idea that when we stuck to it and we gave him, good dosage twice a day in his organic juice every morning, that fast forward now, last year we were featured in Columbia University's medical journal that was released that he's off the spectrum. So it actually healed his neurological ailment. So they have something that's called an ATEC, which is it's a test that you take to see how severe the neurological, autism is. And it went from a 148, which is nonverbal, non-communicative, severe, to off when you're under 20. And so that was with lots of raw CBD oil, lots of organic, juice with celery and kale and probiotics. And, we really watched his diet, and now he's a healthy, happy boy. So I thought, great, well, I'll do my business, and this will have a platform, 101cbd.org, to help other families, give them education, give them hope, give them free products. We sell free products. We send free products all over the world for any family affected by autism. But little did I know that CBD could do so much more for people. And it's not just CBD, it's the plant. The hemp plant is where CBD comes from. And there's a lot more than CBD that goes on. So those tinctures that I send out, it's essentially freshly squeezed hemp juice. That's all it is. Cold extracted hemp juice. Everything that's in that plant is in that tincture. And that's why it works so well. So then people started coming to us for rheumatoid arthritis, all these other things like pain, anxiety, sleep. And then it was like Parkinson's, Alzheimer's. And we were hearing all these incredible stories. I was like, oh my God, I had no idea. And so then we decided to make it our full-time mission. And we've been doing it for the last 5 or 6 years now, and incredible stories.
So some questions. I think that, and I shared this with you. I'm very open book about it. I'm a recovered alcoholic, and mind and mood altering drugs and chemicals don't enter my body because I don't want to trigger anything else. So, for the people who think, and me being one of them, just being honest, that CBD is marijuana, and I don't need to be getting high because that's not good for me. what's the difference? I mean, because you say hemp, I mean it's marijuana, right?
So that's the most like common misperception, right? So you remember, I don't know if you had it when you grew up in the Midwest, but we did. Remember ditchweed? Did you have ditchweed? Ditchweed growing on the sides of the roads.
Oh, so, yeah. Okay. Yeah.
That's ditchweed, right? And that's hemp. So the settlers from the Spanish in like the late 1500s brought over industrial hemp, which is what you made. Thanks, Kara. I got a sign from her. So anyone needs a sign, get a sign from Kara. And
I just connected with Kara this morning. Actually, I did. She sent me a LinkedIn friend request. So yeah,
she's awesome. And so hemp is what we made rope out of, what we made paper out of, what they used the sails to bring over the Santa Maria, what the first Constitution was written on. I mean, hemp is hemp, but hemp is filled with cannabidiol, which is CBD. And we had literally 10 years ago, we had no idea what CBD was in our country. And so CBD is in broccoli. CBD is in kale. You've been eating it in 25 superfoods already. Our bodies already make it. It's called 2-AG. It's a huge long word. So there's a lot of confusion about it, right? So like, think of it like dogs. There's German Shepherds, and then there's Labradors. In cannabis, which is the type of plant that it is, there's marijuana and there's hemp. Marijuana has anything more than 0.3% THC. In our country, that's how it is determined. Anything less than 0.3% THC, which is the only psychoactive part of the plant, is considered hemp. In order for you to get any type of psychoactive effects, you have to be somewhere in the 3, 4, 5, 6, 7% THC, and you have to heat it, which is called decarboxylation. Well, we don't heat our plants. We cold extract our plants. There's no psychoactive effects. There's no high effects. Our normal everyday customer is grandma. Grandma comes in. Grandma's got some back pain. She just doesn't want to have the pain anymore. She gets a tincture or she gets a rub. And then the pain usually starts out at an 8 out of 10. It goes down to a 4, 3, 2, or 1 after using our products. And so, no one, wow. If you want to get high, go find a high THC variety, and that's your thing. Go get high, you heat it. If you want to get healthy, find a high CBD version like hemp and eat it. And that's that's what worked for our family, and that's what we're here to educate people on and help any way we can.
So those weeds growing along the side of the road, just stop and eat some of those, and you're.
I grow in my shake every morning. I put a flower in my shake with my hemp protein powder and a banana and some blueberries, wild organic, and it's great for you. Who would have thought? Who would have?
So what are some of the okay, 2014,
yep.
Your son is diagnosed on the autism spectrum.
Yep.
And it sounds like it was severe.
Yep.
And he's having a fit out at the pumpkin patch one day, and what do they call that? An episode? I don't know.
It's like a tantrum like any kid, but with autism, they tend to cover their ears. They're totally overwhelmed with life. It's a stimulus. Right. There's too much stimulus and they can't handle it. And whether screaming or hands over their ears, it's just meltdown.
Now, what is this I don't think you can walk into CVS and buy CBD oil, can you?
Well, they passed the 2018 Farm Bill, which made CBD and hemp 1,000% legal. So actually you can. Now, because it's legal, there's a bunch of investors that came to the space, and they're making a product based on making money. And so that's fine and dandy. But as we know from all the teachings of all the people that we've aligned with, if your number one priority is helping your client, serving your client, and not making money, then you'll be around for the long haul. And so you can buy it in CVS. There are a couple good products out there in different places, but there's a lot of stuff that's just not good. And what I mean by that, not all CBD is created equal. You have ours that's cold extracted, which is basically just juice. And then there's other stuff that's extracted and it's isolated and it's processed, just like, the difference between Tang and freshly squeezed orange juice, right? They're both orange, but that's about it. No nutritional value in it. And so, I always recommend, just like anything you buy, ask your neighbors, ask your friends, look at verified online reviews from actual customers of the company. There's companies like Trustpilot that verify actual customer reviews. and look at testimonials and look at what's called COAs, which are basically lab reports that shows you exactly what's in the product. And so right now, CBD is a big craze. And just make sure you work with a great company that will show you all what's in their products, and find a brand that you identify with. So if it's their story or their website, and just like anything else that we shop for, but it's helping millions of people in our country and around the world with pain, anxiety, and sleep are the top ones, but other obviously big autoimmune deficiencies as well.
Now, you mentioned some other things like Alzheimer's, and you mentioned
cancer,
ALS. How about ALS? Is that
absolutely?
It's helping those folks too,
based on our testimonials, everything that we hear. So again, our body, our body knows what true north is, and it's called homeostasis. Just like eating right, exercising, drinking water, getting a good night's sleep, that sets your body up for success so it can heal itself. Well, with the toxic world that we live in, the processed foods, the dirty air, basically you are what you eat. And we as Americans aren't exactly winning a blue ribbon for that. And so our bodies start to experience, obviously, get out of sync. And lots of inflammation. All of these diseases that you hear that have all these new names, rheumatoid arthritis and fibromyalgia and all these things, these weren't around 10 years ago, 20 years ago, right? These are new things that the doctors just threw their hands up. They said, we don't know. Like, they literally don't know. They tried every pharmaceutical drug they could. We heard all the stories and the side effects. And then we found this, we call the miracle plant, the hemp plant, and it helped our bodies find homeostasis. It helped their bodies naturally heal themselves. In our brains, we have these things called alkalization's huge. Yeah. That's drinking water over 7.0 pH. And so, we have in our brains, we have these things called CB1 receptors. In our bodies, we have these things called CB2 receptors, which is all part of the endocannabinoid system. And anything that's neurological, this plant interacts with our receptors and helps. If their neurons are firing too fast, it helps slow things down, right? Like a traffic cop. And so that's where all the anxiety and all the notifications from our cell phones and commercials and, everything that's coming at us, it just helps slow things down and get into that homeostasis. And so it's also neuroregenerative, and that's what helped our son. So it literally will help rewire the brain that is not firing correctly. Because again, our cells, our DNA know what true north is. They know what they're designed to do. And this plant, eating right, healthy, exercise, water, all of those things allow the body to do what it innately wants to do. And that's why it helps with all of those other diseases, because disease is obviously something we did that made the body get out of sync. And eating right, taking supplements like CBD, or water, sleep, those are the things that help our bodies heal. There's nothing more powerful than if you set your body up to heal than your body.
So, so part of that is obviously a couple of Big Macs every day.
Supersize me, watch it. A guy almost died after 30 days. The doctor's like, you might not make it.
Oh, wow. So you started this. When did you actually form the company and start the company?
2014. So we started it right when we started to see the results. I was like, okay, there's no information out there. I had an extra office. I had a couple suites in an office building. And I said, we'll make it a platform. I'm going to have something out there. Throw up a website. My wife's a brilliant marketing whiz. So she threw up a website, got it a .org, and just shared a little bit about our story and made a little video. And that was it. That's all I thought it was going to be. So I had my sales and marketing companies and my things that I was doing. But then the stories kept coming. And the people were like, literally didn't have rheumatoid arthritis anymore. And the lady started taking it for cancer. And then the lady she started having conversations with her husband for the first time in 3 years with Parkinson's. And then, the things just kept coming and coming and coming and coming. And I'm like, oh my God. And nobody, just like you, nobody knew about it. Everyone has the same questions. Am I going to get high? It's marijuana. Am I going to fail a drug test? All these things. And a lot of it is because back in 1937, they passed the marijuana tax bill to illegalize, to make hemp illegal, because all the textile billionaires, the Hearsts of the world, the DuPonts of the world, they were making billions of dollars cutting down trees and cotton and making petroleum-based paints and all the things that they did. And you can do all of that with a regenerative hemp plant. And they're like, no, we don't want to compete with that. So they got rid of illegal hemp. You used to have to pay your taxes with hemp. George Washington grew hemp. Thomas Jefferson grew hemp. If you were a farmer back in those colonial days, you were required by law to grow 1 acre of hemp because of its so many good uses. I mean, hemp, you can make plastic out of it. I'm working with some companies out of Colorado. We're making plastic out of hemp. We're making, obviously, paper, clothes. You can make batteries that are 800 times more efficient than a lithium battery out of hemp. All of this is going to take infrastructure and millions of dollars of investment, which is coming. We're working on it. And it's going to change the world. Everyone's like, oh, CBD, a new billion-dollar industry. No, hemp, $1 trillion industry, hundreds of thousands of manufacturing jobs are going to be here. It's coming. And if I can answer any questions or help anybody, I'd be more than happy to. But it's an amazing time to be alive and what this plant can do for us. So much more than just medicine and health, which is amazing all in itself. But there's a lot more to come.
Do you know who Andy Frisella is?
I definitely know the name.
He's the CEO and founder of First Form Fitness, with a PH, ORM, First Form. And I interviewed him. They do $300-400 million a year in business, and I interviewed him on this show, and I said, dude, where was the and this has something to do with what you just said. I said, because he talks about for the first 10 years of their business, him and his business partner, he said, I literally made $55,000 in 10 years. So $5,500 a year. And I go, dude, you could have made more money flipping burgers at McDonald's. And he goes, I know. He goes, and I just looked at my business partner and I said, dude, we gotta figure this out, man. Throw in the towel, whatever. Or he goes, and this woman walked in and talked about and into their store and talked about how their products had changed her life. She lost all this weight and and she was in tears.
Yep.
And then she bought a couple of things and left. And he said, Andy, and all the time I wanted the women and the cars and the, all this money. I wanted to be rich and all this stuff. He said, and as soon as she walked out, I looked at my partner and I said, you know what? I'm not going to say what he said, but he loves the F word, but he said, I don't care about the money. That right there is why we're in this business. And I am unbelievably grateful. And that's what we're going to do. We're here just to serve people and help people. And he said, it was like God was testing me. He said, and that's when, boom, man, it took off. I mean, really took off for him. So I think you're on the right track, dude. You want to serve people. You want to help people. You want to help people understand what this can do for them. So Weldon says, other than reviews, how can we tell which product is the best? Because there are a lot of CBD companies, man, a lot. I have 2 other friends that own CBD companies.
So here's the inside knowledge, right? So again, it's not CBD. CBD is one part of 500 parts of the hemp plant. It took 60 million years to develop this plant, and this plant produces CBD that our bodies produce. We communicate. Our bodies and this plant communicate. We have the same, communication molecule. So basically, the product that leaves the plant alone the most is the one you want to work with. Some people call it full spectrum, which is like a full spectrum of light. Well, that's an overused, bastardized term. There's no real, policing of that term. Again, what you want to do is get a product that's whole plant, right? That's what holistic means, whole plant. So when we make our products, we harvest them and we literally use a cold extraction method, like a cold press, like you would make olive oil or sunflower seed oil. and you would press the plant, and then you get all of the nutrition, all of the enzymes, all of these things called terpenes and flavonoids and cannabinoids. Hemp also has all 21 amino acids, a perfect ratio of omega-3 and omega-6 fatty acids. In fact, it's the closest thing that resembles breast milk, human breast milk on the planet. So you want to work with a company that doesn't over-process the plant, that leaves the plant alone, right? Find the organic farmer's market orange juice company. Don't buy Tang. And I'm sorry if there's Tang lovers out there, and some of the millennials, I'm sure, like, what is Tang?
Yeah. I grew up on that stuff, man.
Yeah.
Wow. So, my wife says it's a little overwhelming and confusing. And I have all these CBD oils sitting here that you've sent me and other people have sent me, and I've tried them all. Yeah. She not so much. She really is into the essential oils, but and Joe, well, shoot, Joe, the comments are moving. Awesome. Yeah, he has a friend that's making hemp disposable silverware.
Awesome.
So how would, okay, if somebody goes to your website, 101cbd.org.
Yep.
What are they going to learn there? Is it just, hey, buy our product, or is it an educational platform? What are they going to learn?
So we have videos. If you go to our blogs, you can watch tons of videos that we've done, interviews, podcasts, webinars over the years. There's medical journals that we've been featured in. So go to the blogs. There's like the top 10, reasons why to buy CBD or what to look for. That's on the website. It really is set up for education.
Okay.
It's not the sexiest, like Amazon buy now, one click. It's not about making money. And for all of you out there, I challenge you to whatever it is that you do. And I know we talk about this a lot with Jeffrey Gitomer is to really stay focused on your client and solve their problems and ask questions and be empathetic and just stick to that. Figure out a solution. And when you do that, you'll have clients for life, and you'll make relationships, and you'll just have the rewards will go on and on. I know we had a Kellen's talk this morning, and he was talking about how he had one client that he went out of his way for, and it led to like $3 million in business over the years. And so you'll never be disappointed with what, if you really try and help somebody in your day to day. Your life will be more rewarding, and the money will come. Find something that you're calling. Find something that you love, that you're passionate about, that you jump out of bed for, and follow it. And yes, it could take 10 years of you busting your ass. It's like an overnight success, after 10 years. But find that thing that really lights you up.
And sometimes it's longer than 10 years. I mean, sometimes it's 20, 30 years. Sometimes you never get that money part of it, but I think that what you're saying is 100% true, and it's almost a cliche, but it's true. I mean, it's like, look, if you go out of your way to help other people and solve their problems. Yeah, look, Doug Wing says Little Giant was started in 1972. It takes time.
Yeah.
Right. It does, man. It takes time. But so again, I think this is just my opinion, and I know that Jeffrey uses your espresso, right? The espresso boost CBD in his coffee. I'm going to be trying that out too. Yeah. But I think from my viewpoint, your primary focus should be like educating people on what CBD is and what it is not.
Yeah.
Like, because I think that dude, I'm not a dummy most of the time. And I've had this thing in my head about CBD is it's marijuana. Why are, there for a long time there was a push like, no, this is illegal, we're going to keep this illegal, and for a long time, for years, and it's like, so when you hear that, you think, wait, there's something wrong with this then, right? And I think that people are used to being programmed by the media and all of that. And so I think what you're talking about is awesome, dude. It's what people need to hear.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. And it again, there is a lot of stigma, and it's sad to say, but follow the money.
Yeah, right.
I mean, Big Pharma doesn't want this around, right? They came out with a synthesized version of CBD, which is called Epidiolex, which is for children with seizures, right?
Yeah.
Big Pharma. They charge $32,000 a year for that product. They do not want people buying a product for $50 a month and getting healthy. And they also don't want them realizing, wait a second, I can take a plant and then I can grow in my garden.
Yeah.
And it's going to have no side effects, and I'm going to sleep better and have less anxiety and maybe less aches and pains. Again, we've tried the pharmaceutical model. There's a lot of people that don't want it anymore. Most people that I come across. And again, it gets back to a simpler living, which is eat wholesome food, eat fruits and vegetables, guys, drink water, exercise.
Yeah.
It's amazing when you do those things, and, how better you can be.
I think, I went off the other night. I don't know if you were on that or not, but about the hydroxychloroquine and how Big Pharma is trying to make sure that you follow the money.
Yeah.
And here Tom says pharma can't patent a plant. That's true.
They have tried. Trust me. They
oh yeah. But I mean, Big Pharma did $982 billion in revenue last year. That's almost $1 trillion. Yeah. So if you had $1 trillion industry, you'd fight to keep it alive, even if you had to make stuff up along the way. So, look, here's Wes says, my issue, I've tried a bunch of different products and strengths, and up to now, I haven't seen any results. I'd love to have one that actually assists my back pain and gives new life to my older dog. Wow.
Reach out to me, Jay Benton at 101cbd.org or info@101cbd.org. I see those too. And send me your mailing address and I'll send you one for free. And one for you and one for your dog. Dogs are our number one clients. They don't have the conscious mind to screw stuff up.
They're your number one client?
Bacon. We have a bacon flavor and a wild salmon. And so the dogs, when they feel better, they put pressure down on their paws. And the dog owners are like, oh my God, they're like a puppy again. I hear that story, I don't know, 7 times, 8 times a week. And so they don't have the conscious mind. Whereas the humans will sit there and be like, I couldn't have been the CBD. It must have been, I've been stretching better. I must have got my fighting weight back, right? But dogs are just like, oh, I feel better, I'll put more pressure on it. And so it's the same things. The number one reason humans and dogs take it's for pain and inflammation. We see it all the time with older dogs, especially in the hips. And the baby boomers and the retirees are our number one clients. So I would love to take the Pepsi Taste Challenge with you, and for you to try what the whole plant. It's not CBD, guys. CBD is like saying, oh my God, vitamin C, yeah, it's going to solve everything. No. It's called eat an orange. Eat a whole orange with a little bit of pulp in it, folks. It's just basic things. That's how our bodies work, is right. Whole plants, whole foods. And so I can't wait to send it to you. I can't wait to hear your feedback because I already know.
Robert says, give it a try for 30 days. You won't understand how it works until you stop taking the product.
You hear that all the time, especially from men. They come in, they're like, well, I don't really know if it's working, but they're coming back to buy some. and then they come back because they run out. And then you run out for like 2 or 3 days. And then all those aches and pains that you forgot about come back. And you're like, oh, yeah, that's working.
So it's not obviously then it's not curing anything. It's if the pains and all that comes back.
Well, think about it. So it took a long time for your body to deteriorate. years and years and years of whether it's a lot of physical activity or eating like crap or whatever, or drinking crappy water. So it's not a silver bullet. There's not, just to get over to everybody, there's no magic pill that will fix everything. There's no magic beans.
Right.
Behind the veil at Oz. You have to eat healthy every day. Yes,
right.
Be some moderation. You can have some dessert, but you are what you eat. All of our cells are made up of what we eat. Eat better, drink more water, exercise your brain. And if you do that, CBD will help set your body up for homeostasis so your body can heal itself. And we have had people that have had serious injuries, pain-related, war injuries, football injuries, that have taken our products for 3, 4, 5 months and then noticed they didn't need to take it anymore. They wanted it still to have it around, because we all know as you get older, you wake up and sometimes it feels like you're an old tractor. You got to get that thing going. But I have it by my bedside.
Wow. Yeah, Tom is saying inflammation is the cause of pain and disease. CBD reduces inflammation
naturally without side effects, and it's good for your liver and good for your kidneys. But so is broccoli and so is kale, guys. Eat better, drink more water. It sounds simple. That is the cure that we're all looking for. You are what you eat.
So, last question for you, dude. What's the number one thing that holds people back from success and happiness in life?
The brain, our own brains. We hold ourselves back. So what I challenge you and everybody every day is, like we talked about earlier, is that you can learn from your own experiences, that I've had to learn some painful lessons, or you can learn from others. So learn from other people that have what you want, like the life you want, or whatever it is, that, or they have that look in their eye and you're like, God, I want that. They just seem happy all the time. I want to be someone with that kind of energy. I remember when I saw you, Ken, in the beginning doing this, I was like, I like that guy. I like that energy. All right. And so just make sure that you're working on your attitude. You're being grateful for what you have. There are no limits. Remember when you were a kid and you wanted to be an astronaut, you wanted to be a baseball player, there was no limits. So there is no limits. Is conditioning and life and circumstances and media and even good-natured people with good intentions. They didn't want you to get hurt. Like, calculated the odds of being a baseball player. Like, let's try something more, responsible. No, chase your dreams. You only get one life, do it. There are no limitations other than the limitations you put on your own mind. Surround yourself with people that support you. If there's some negative naysayers out there, you can choose your friends. You can't pick your family. You are the closest 5 people that you hang around with. Hang around better people that push you, that challenge you, that are, living at a higher vibration, that want more out of their life, because you deserve to be happy. We all deserve to be happy. So go for it. That would be my advice.
Love that, man. We have the great Glenn Morshower.
Hey, Glenn.
Exes who won't go away are the biggest source of pain. He doesn't have any exes. He's been married for like 40 years or longer. I don't even know how long. I don't know the exact number.
I love to
anyway.
Check it out. I'd love to check out your online acting class too. Be a fly on the wall. That's great.
Yeah. Well, I can get you his information to make that happen. So look, man, this has been very, very enlightening. I really think everyone, and dude, you're very active on social media. So, what Jose wants to know, what is the product name for the products for espresso? It's
Boost X, and just put in the notes that you want it as espresso. We'll mail it to espresso.
But and just reach out to Justin. Just send him, like, he's on Facebook, he's everywhere. Send him a message, or what's the email address again?
The easiest one is info@101cbd.org. And I don't want to get off without mentioning what's your promo code. I know you're running an awesome deal on your Go Live program, which is changing so many people's lives and is allowing you to be on Amazon where 150 million people can watch it. If you guys want a little bit more attraction for your business, you might want to go check out Ken's.
Oh no, man, this isn't about me, dude.
Promo code.
This is about you. So I appreciate that, but honestly, I I don't use the show for that. This is about you. So thank you.
Yep.
You can go live and promote the heck out of it if you want.
I'm gonna do it in 10 minutes.
I want everybody, because Justin has I mean, dude, you sent me a sample of 2 samples of it, 3 actually. You sent me some roll-on stuff too, raw relief roll-on. You're a good dude, man. You just well, I think you also sent me some espresso, didn't you? Or
in the mail, it'll be there, I think, tomorrow.
Yeah, I haven't received it yet, but you're a good dude, man, and you said that you send out free samples all over the world. That's incredible.
Yeah.
So, man, everybody needs to follow you. Send an email to info@101cbd.org. Justin will hook you up with a sample, right? Is that right?
Absolutely. And what we want, we the whole mission is for us to pay it forward. Our prayers were answered by this plant. This plant was the glue that got our son off the spectrum. And so
and when you say off the spectrum, he was high on the autism spectrum. So everybody
diagnosis, severe, nonverbal, non-communicative, in his own world. General Ed wanted to put him in the most remedial classes, and it was as bad as it gets, in that category. And so we tried everything, and this plant and diet, nutrition was what got him healthy. And it can get you healthy and your loved ones healthy. That's why we send it away for free. Just try it. Try it. And if you love it, great. We have compassionate discounts for half off for the rest of your life. My goal is to reach 1 billion people by 2025, whether they see our videos, they try our products. We send free hemp seeds around the world. You want hemp seeds? I'll send you 6. Throw it in your backyard and grow it. At the end of the day, this is a plant. Try the plant. Whatever ailment that you have right now, I'm telling you, there is a plant that will help. I know we talked about essential oils earlier. Lavender oil, we use it to relax. There's things in lavender called terpenes. That's the smell of the plant. And that smell actually triggers parts of our brains to relax. So my main message again is, let's just get back to simpler times. Eat right, eat healthy, drink plenty of water, alkalized water if you'd like, put a little lemon in there. And, and we'll get there. And if anything I can do to help, I'd love to help. Any family that has any questions with autism, we'll send them a free product as well. We really are here to help and educate.
Dude, that's so awesome. Justin Benton, Jeffrey Gittimer uses his products. I have his products. I haven't used a bunch of it yet, but dude, you're a good dude. So I'm grateful you came on today and told your story and shared your wisdom. And everybody needs to go to 101cbd.org. Send an email to info@101cbd.org. And Justin, you get that email, right?
Yep.
Send Justin an email, reach out to him on Facebook, go check it out. And listen, I appreciate everybody being on here. If you shared this out, you rock, you're awesome. You're on my favorite list. If you shared this out,
share.
If you didn't share it out, I know who you are.
And no, we can actually see the ones that don't share it, and we'll be reaching out. Asking, why didn't you share this?
Justin, I'm going to end this. Thank you so much. Stay on here, though. Don't go anywhere. I'm going to end this. I appreciate everybody. Make sure you follow Justin. Look him up on Facebook. Check out his website. And you all have a fantastic day and go break through some walls today. Thanks, Justin.
Thanks for having me, Ken.